All right. Hey, River. Hey, go up. Oh, nice. Yeah, I feel like Desert Bus kinda... The point of that is to watch a lot of it, so... That's weird. Hey, Turin. Alright. Let's go ahead and get this show. Once I get this controller to not fall off my desk. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. So, hello, and welcome to a Thursday edition of Lolo De Puzlo's Journal. Today, we are back on our we are back on our holiday kick, I guess, is how you could phrase it. I do have a little bit of housekeeping, namely the fact that I do 3 streams a weekend. However, I am having to, well, not having to, I'm deciding to go ahead and preemptively cancel Sunday's episode. Basically because it's nothing like bad. It's actually something very good. Sitting in my kitchen actually is a bunch of computer parts. Because I'm going to build myself a new computer. Actually, it is... The weird thing with computers now is that it's mostly actually already built. I just put in the CPU in the motherboard, which is just sitting in the box. The RAM's already installed, the hard drives. The only thing I'm taking from this current build is the graphics card and some hard drives. The current build I am going to do has 0 SATA drives. So it is literally just everything is on the motherboard. So I just gotta plug in power, install the CPU cooler, and some fans, and that's pretty much it. Outside of like the graphics card and that. So it's gonna be a fairly like painless build, but I have to do the fun thing of since it's a new PC, I'm doing a fresh install, which means I gotta reinstall all the shit that I do for the stream, and I'm going to get a start on it tomorrow morning, but it's most of the work's going to be done on Saturday. And I don't want to rush into Sunday with stuff that I haven't actually gotten to work on this machine yet. So I'm deciding to just say, you know what, we're going to do we're going to push Silent Hill to the new year. Because I feel like that means we'll get back to Silent Hill with the start of the new year, as well as getting back to the Trains journal, and getting back to Phantasy Star Universe, or Phantasy Star Portable 2. So we'll be starting 2 things that actually probably will last a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a heads up that there is not going to be a Sunday show this weekend. But it's because I am getting a better computer. Hopefully everything works. I accidentally ordered 2 power supplies because I guess I accidentally hit 2 instead of 1. So if that's bad, then good thing is I have another one already here. But with that being said, that is something I'm going to deal with this weekend. That is not what we're dealing with now. Right now, we're back here, and we're back with what we started last time. Because last time we got StarTropics. We basically, in one episode, got all the way to Chapter 8. And... yeah. So, for a quick recap, we basically are at the final chapter. I think the chapter's literally called Final Battle, which is very apt for a name for this chapter. But yeah, we are going to do we're going to be finishing up StarTropics. I already got it right here. So, thing with this, actually. Let me go ahead and start. So I can see where our volume's at. As the alien spaceship is circling the Earth, hurry up and find the last magical cube. And yes, we are on the spaceship, which is about to go to space. So yes, this right, well, I guess technically there's a little bit after this, but this right here is basically the entirety of the overworld of this level. It is primarily a level. So Chapter 1 and 2 are pretty easy. Chapter 3 is a bit harder, but it's manageable once you understand the minutia of how this game works. 4 and 5 are... like, 4 is just kind of a gimmick level. 5 is relatively easy. Chapter 6 is also relatively easy, although it's a little bit difficult. Chapter 7 is a massive kick to the dick. And this level is also kind of a massive kick to the dick. I have decided to preemptively, I'm going to try and see how far I can do this quote-unquote legit, although I'm giving myself 2 cheats. One is I'm giving myself infinite lives. The other is I am making it so that I only need 3 hearts to use the supernova, because I think that's a stupid gimmick anyway. So, yeah, I'm just giving myself that little heads up. So. Oh, look! Illusionary image appears before you. You hear an evil voice. Aha! Aha! I am the Prime Invader. I am the Prime Invader. Comma, Soda. Come on, try and beat me. You'll be defeated like the Argonians. We'll destroy you. Aha! Aha! Come on, Mike. Come on! Your head is aching. You jammed bananas in your ears, for which you somehow had with you. Get out of my mind, alien scum. Okay, so there's our introduction to Zoda. Yeah, and then this starts out with a boss fight that I think is very bad. Because you'll notice that we have all those hearts, which are not filled. There is no way to grab additional hearts. You must do this boss fight with 3 hearts. Vision. Yeah, you get, at best, 2 hits. If he touches you, you just instantly die. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. This boss fight sucks. Also, once you start shooting the eyes, you cannot do damage to him anymore. Shit. Thanks, Ultimo. Okay, there you are. I think. Okay. Oh no, it's a Xeno. Okay, now time for the other part of this level that sucks. Yeah, that's not good. Because guess what? This chapter does not believe in checkpoints. I'm actually curious. Is there a way that I can give... Can I have all hearts? Oh. Okay. That did not work. Is there a way that I can give myself something? You know, I'm curious. Okay, Supernova has a slower fire rate. Okay. Okay, now what I'm gonna do... Take that off. Okay, Bomb Rush the Vitamin X. There we go. What they should have given you at the start of the stage. Okay. Oh, also I'm gonna do one other thing. Because I don't think there's a checkpoint in this stage. Which also you get this, like, kind of pseudo-side-scrolling level, and it's not that great. Okay, now you have this thing. Why'd I do that? Damn it. Oh. It's my camera is acting up. Oh, it's actually because it's angled a little weird. That's why. Try that. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, no. We're not doing that again. I will start from here. That's fine. Hey, Carmine. You know, I was thinking that maybe after I beat this, that it's like... Maybe I'll go, like... Because I think I'm, like, with... Just to prevent any issues of... potential technical difficulties. We're gonna be probably just watching stuff after this. Hold on, why is my camera... Is my thing? Okay, whatever. Why is my camera... It really does not want... What the hell is going... Oh, it's probably because I'm too close to it. That's why. Back up. Let's try that. That... Sam Hill is going on with my camera. Oh, it's... Okay, now it's like that. Technical difficulties. There we go. Let's try this. Okay. Oh! Okay, I was not expecting that to work. Okay. Okay. So this is actually a pretty decent grinding spot for hearts. Which I'm going to do. Yeah, I just happen to get really good timing. Okay, there we go. Okay. Actually, kind of could run around here, but here we go. Oh, what is... Okay. I forgot what your patterns are. Oh. Also, you want to stay the hell away from him, because touching him is instant death. Nope. Okay. Where's the checkpoint? That's what I thought. I don't know why I killed that thing. I didn't need to kill it. Okay. If it felt... the hard game is going great. I just died to the final boss. And you have to do a good majority of this level all over again. Okay, that part's easier than I thought. Okay. Give me a heart. There we go. Hey, babe. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, that is why you don't want to get close. Okay. Yeah, that's how Zoda's actually supposed to look. Yeah, it's not perfect cell Zoda. Okay. Yeah, because also one thing about this section is that it... Nope, didn't get to it in time. Okay. Also, I want to say that there's a place where you can get a potion. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Oh, you get infinite, vitamin X. Okay. Where is it? Oh, is it? Oh, wait, I think you have to kill everyone in here. That's how you get it. Okay, we're getting this. And we're leaving. There's this prick. Okay, that's what I thought. Oh, you even get one of these. Okay, that's good. Oh, you get 3 potions there. Okay. That actually might be worthwhile saving. I don't know if that's repeatable, though. Like, I think you just get it once per life. Okay, let's try this again. Nope, okay, that answers that question. Does it? Okay, that's what I thought. Whoop, Don't want to use that yet. I want to say that the Hyper Blaster is like the strongest weapon in the game, or whatever it's called. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, I have... Well, I'll wait until I heal up. Okay. I have showcased that I can get to this part reliably. So I'm saving time. There we go. That's final boss. Oh, you've done it. Oh, I almost broke 90,000. Oh, it's starting to explode. Get the last magic cube. I don't know, and I don't want to try. And we got it. Oop. I dropped my controller. Today we got the escape pod, and apologies for the flashing. Well, it's okay, we just gotta swim. Oh, we died. But wait, it's the dolphin from 2. Or chapter 2. And now we're back on Sea Island. Oop. Uh-oh. Okay. We also have slight problem. I'll go with the Caracola. Congratulations. hear cream soda. Can you show me how to use the yo-yo sometime? Like you rescued Dr. J, didn't you? That's Radicola. Talk about the Caracola. Congratulations. Mike, it's me, Miss Coral. You look totally cool, except for those bananas. Mike, it's me, Babu. Let's celebrate some cola. Future gonna feel much better. Oh, Mike, you've done it. See, I have to hurry. I'm gonna roast a pig at your victory party. Where are you staying? Just kidding. I guess the shaman is at our cheese hut. Actually, I don't think you need to talk to everyone. There we go. Mike, you returned. Oh, you have the 3 magic cubes. I knew you could do it. The monsters have disappeared from the island. Like our island is forever indebted to you. Have come here. Circuits indicate success. Circuits indicate success. Mike, you've done it. You risked life and limb, and I know you almost gave up on your quest. But tell all, you battle like a hero under the Southern Cross. Now look, let's join the 3 magic cubes together. And they go together. Something's happening. Wow, they're kids. Who are they? So, one fun thing about this particular song is that this song's actually broken. This full song is not playing. Let me I'm gonna mute this real quick, and I'm gonna play the music as it should be playing. So let's mute that. And let's get how the song's supposed to be played. Because there's something in the code that breaks the song. There is patches to fix this, but I forgot to get that patch. Where are you? There's supposed to be a bass line to it, which makes it sound completely different. Wow, they're kids. Who are they? Oh, that one speaks. Listen. Hi, I am Princess Mika, daughter of the Argonian leader Huracan. We 7 boys and girls are the last beings from planet Argonia. 20 years ago, when our planet was about to be destroyed, we were placed in time-frozen magic cubes and sent to this planet. Our planet no longer exists, but we will not cry for the past. My father Huracan told me to live in peace with the people of planet Earth. Sweetheart, hi, I'm Mike. We'll find you a new home. Okay, I think that's that. Like you saved more than cubes, you saved a whole race from extinction. Many kids live on this island. I know the chief will welcome you here. Oh, 7 boys and girls, we welcome all of you. It's your new home. You'll be happy living here under the Southern Cross. Okay, tonight's the party. It'll be a great feast for all. We are pleased. You are so kind. I'm hungry. Is that banana cream pie? Sit then. Hey, anyone want to go fishing after you just got time unfrozen? Also, I like the guy in the top left. Also, let's like this Goemon-ass guy in the top right. Oh, you heard it a little bit. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's StarTropics. As a game, I think the thing is that, like, it's good for, like, the first, like, 6 chapters are, like, really good. Chapter 7 is brutal, like, way too hard, and then Chapter 8 you probably should get a checkpoint at the part after the core. But other than that, I think other than that, I think this game is neat. I really wish that they decided to go elaborate a little bit more on the grid system in the second one, but they decided to go their own way with the second one. I don't think the second one is bad, but I kinda have more fondness for the first one. So I think it's a little bit more, like, unique. But I think it's kind of a case of, like, a different, like, quality scale, but it's like the case of, like, Terminator or Terminator 2 or, like, Alien versus Aliens. They're kind of different, but they're going for something, like, each one's going for a different thing. Though I do think the first one is better quality-wise. Although the second one does have some aspects of it that are really good, like the music. Oh, so yeah, you have a yo-yo in this one. Yeah, that's always the case, where it's like, the one you grew up with is always the one you're more fun with, and that's not bad. Like, there's some people that say the second game is bad. I heavily disagree. I think 2, while not as charming as this one, I think 2 is perfectly adequate. And yeah, the grid system, I think, could potentially be a turnoff for some people. That's why I don't think that, yeah, it is a thing of, like I kind of mentioned between Alien and Aliens, or Terminator 1 versus Terminator 2. It's what it tries to do. They're both trying to be different games, I feel. I am someone who likes Terminator 1 versus Terminator 2, and also Alien versus Aliens. I'll say here's Mike. They put the bananas in. Those are weirdly small bananas. It's like plantains, almost. Those are plantains. There you go. I don't think... Is this one soft lock, or is it, like... Yep, I think that's a soft lock. Okie dokie. Well, with that, put that to the side. Let's figure out where we should put it. StarTropics. Okay. Let's see. We put... Oh, sorry. That's gonna... we need to put... Okay, so we have it at B, which is right where we put Zoda's Revenge. I kind of feel like... Oh, also not true. There we go. Okay. Okay. So let's see. I kind of feel like... I kind of want to put it at B+. What do we have at B+? We have the original Legend of Zelda, which actually I would say that this is... Have we really not ranked the original Legend of Zelda since episode 9? I should probably look at original-ass Zelda again at some point. But let's see, we got Super Adventure Island, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Pokemon Red. I would say that this should be at that, at least. X4, the original Castlevania and Bloodlines. Ooh. I kind of say I'd like the games in A- a little bit better. Yeah, I think this is a B+. I really feel like this is a B+. So let's move to B+. And let's see. Things I have marked down. This game's music is very good. This game is kind of frustrating. And I think that's good for now. I think that's good. StarTropics, it's a very good game. It's a dick, but it's a good game. So, chat, I am feeling, rather than pulling from the thing, queue, I feel like watching something. So I think what we're gonna do is, I have something actually at like a little bit. So this is gonna be like, not gonna end in like 15 minutes, but I feel like we're gonna watch something and then we're probably gonna vamoose. So I will give you some options for some things to watch. Let me pull up... No, we're not gonna... That's right, I forgot about the Twitch things. We're not gonna see some boobies. What do I have to work with? At least we're not gonna see any... Well, I don't... Actually, I don't even know. We might. Who knows? What's in the... Game thumbnails, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so do we want to watch more commercials? So basically, I haven't read either, but the gist that I'm getting is I believe that providing that you're not actually showing raw, like actual ass porking, I believe you can now show nudity. Yeah, we're reeling in the TV today, or tonight. So, chat, do we want to watch more commercials? Do we want to see a video about a game that I won't play? Or do we want to... Actually, those are your options. Do you want to see a video about a game that I'm not going to play? Or do we want to watch a commercial? Or a set of commercials? Huh. Okay, game that I won't play. Let's see, anyone else in chat have any suggestions? Game you won't play? Let's see, that's 2 for game we won't play. Going once. Going twice. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer thing. But anyway. Okay, let's watch this. I've mentioned this game in the past. Actually, when we were watching the Dark Seed retrospective. So let's talk about Harvester. A point-and-click adventure game from the late 90s. Because why not? Alright. Actually, I'm going to do the fancy thing that I set up eons ago that I forgot about. Yeah, this is I'm pretty sure when I did Retro Rank Rhapsody, I had a thing that was a list of games that I refused to play right out, and I believe that this was one of them. There was stuff like trying to think. There was that. There was I have no mouth. I must scream. There's like Postal, I think, was on there.
So that.
Also, I was listening to this earlier, so we're gonna do this. Let's see. Are you gonna work? Oh wait, it's not. Wait. Oh, do I have to open it through this? Okay, it is not working like this. Okay, so we're just going to do this. That also works, because that is easy.
So that one.
Okay. So this video is by Magellar, the same person who did the Dark Side review. I'm going to link their video. So let's go ahead and watch this. Yeah, also I'm going to point out, yes, this game has some rather offensive in many ways content, and also there's going to be some unfortunate things mentioned at the end of the review. So fair warning, this gets a little rough.
No one initiates a nuclear holocaust in Harvest except me.
That child needs a father. And Edna, well, she needs a good, hard penis.
Oh, shit! Ow! Shit on a stickeroo!
Hey, Axe. You're just in time for...
Rarely am I at a loss for words, but I just don't know where to begin.
Actually,
so
give me
I guess I'll start on the
one
ground
sec.
floor. Harvester is a horror point-and-click adventure
I think this actually has subtitles. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, okay.
game that was released in 1996. It was developed by Digifex Interactive, a now defunct studio in Austin, Texas. Boy, if this ain't the most 1996 website I've ever seen. That the studio couldn't stay open makes perfect sense, because following Harvester up would have been an impossible task. Shut the doors, everybody. We've done what we can. Digifex was only contracted for some of the labor involved. The real mind behind Harvester is a man named Gilbert Austin, who designed the game, wrote the script, recorded and edited audio, and shot video of the actors on green screens for the game's numerous digitized video cutscenes. As you can see, Harvester has a very distinctive look. It came out of that period in the 90s where people thought full motion video was the future of gaming, so it's used heavily here, along with pre-rendered 3D backgrounds. Gilbert Austin finished his production work on Harvester in 1994, a whole 2 years before the game would be released, which is how long it took Digifex to program the game for reasons neither Gilbert nor I will ever understand. Due to numerous factors, including a botched marketing campaign advertising the game only on radio. I'd love to hear those ads.
So these ads are actually available on YouTube, if you do want to hear them. I might actually pull that up after this.
As well as mediocre critical response, Harvester suffered the fate of many point-and-click games from the 90s. It was buried and forgotten. But as these things go, somebody unearthed Harvester, maybe found a copy in an attic somewhere, and decided the people needed to hear about it. So it started building a little bit of momentum over the years, and now it's seen as a classic might assign a bit too much quality to Harvester. But it's a cult game, in every sense of the word. One thing you should know about me is when I hear the words cult game from the 90s, I'm all over that, like 600 spiders in an outhouse. So let's take a look back at this almost but not quite forgotten game. I don't know if it's necessary, surely we're all adults here, but due to scenes of gratuitous violence as well as some offensive content that's so over the top it doubles back and becomes hilarious, viewer discretion is very much advised. In Harvester, you play as Steve Mason, an 18-year-old man with a keen sense of style, terrible
Also, I'm going to just go ahead and say for people who are in the know of this game, that are familiar with some of the actors in this game, in particular maybe the person who plays Steve, yes, they do bring it up at the end, but don't spoil it for the people that don't know.
Posture and amnesia. If you're only gonna remember one thing about Steve, let it be this: he's always been a kidder.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
You always were a kidder, Steve.
You've always been a kidder, Steve.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
Steve is to charisma what a black hole is to light. None will be found nearby.
Fiance? This is insane!
I know, what self-respecting woman would marry this guy? One day, Steve wakes up in the idyllic 1950s town of Harvest to find, as mentioned, he has no memory of where or even who he is. As you explore the town of Harvest, you realize that something is very wrong, and it might have something to do with the butcher shop where house cats are being sliced up and sold as meat, or the fact that the neighbor's mom is just Steve's mom with an unconvincing wig on. At least we can always find some comfort in the town diner.
The harvest moon wanes and then comes winter. An empty belly, the body sun's belly, gurgling within or bloody on the ground. What does it benefit a man if he gains his soul and loses the world?
I just wanted a patty melt. In reality, the weirdness of Harvest goes deeper than that. There's something about the way people interact with Steve that's slightly askew, to say the very least. That is, except for Stephanie Potsdam, who's also lost her memory and is coincidentally the only person other than Steve who seems like an actual human being. The only problem is that Stephanie is grounded, and because her bedroom windows are portholes from the SS Inevitable, she can't even open them to escape. Everybody in town seems to be hung up on Steve joining a secret organization called the Lodge, so with no other leads, Steve decides that joining might be the best way to get some answers. Joining the Lodge is no simple task though. In order to prove his worthiness, Steve has to perform a series of tasks which begin as light goofs before escalating into some truly gruesome social experiments.
Minor pranks, really?
In regards to presentation, as mentioned, Harvester is a point-and-click adventure game with a distinctively 90s style. The characters are green-screened actors, animated in a variety of walk cycles and poses, while the environments are pre-rendered 3D. Now, I've made mention of pre-rendered backgrounds in a few of my videos, but it's occurred to me that not everybody will know exactly what I mean by that, so bear with me as I give a brief explanation. In most games we're used to nowadays, environments are rendered in 2D or a real-time 3D. In the case of the latter, you can change the camera angle, explore, and basically you're an active participant in the 3D space. In the 90s, a technique was used to give game graphics more realism without bringing console and computer hardware to its knees.
So, I remember, so I don't have it in the list to play, but Magillar also has a video on RPG Maker games, like a bunch of like actually good ones, and I just had the dawning thought of, oh, with the new Twitch rules, people can now play Fear and Hunger on Twitch. And I hate it.
And that's pre-rendering. A detailed environment is created in a 3D modeling software, and an image is rendered. The game takes place on these individual screens which resemble photographs. Usually, certain parts of a render are given additional animation or placed in the foreground to provide an illusion of depth. While games were once developed this way due to technical limitations, it actually became a unique and distinctive style, and when combined with the real-life actors of Harvester, it's a very unconventional one too. It's probably not accurate to say that Harvester looks good, or even appealing, but it's an eccentric style that helps Harvester stand out. Many LucasArts or Sierra adventure games tend to resemble one another, but there's not much out there that looks quite like Harvester, and that's a good thing. Steve's walk cycle usually looks like he shit his pants. The animations sort of abruptly repeat and or reverse, and cutscenes awkwardly combine who I assume are local Austin stage actors with really lame effects added in post. And all of these elements actually kind of enhance Harvester in a way. When I play a good game or an almost good game, I'm earnestly critiquing it it most of the time, but with Harvester, there's a level of acceptance that frees me. If the game is terrible by every traditional measurement, I can actually enjoy the crap factor and start looking at some non-traditional measurements, which are actually where Harvester tends to shine the most. I'm not some fancy pants video game critic, I'm just a guy appreciating a relic from a very weird time in video game history. Well, Harvester's idiosyncrasies would be a bit easier to appreciate if it weren't for its gameplay. It's pretty unremarkable as point and clicks go. You travel around the small town of Harvest, talking to the inhabitants and collecting items to complete objectives. So what's the issue? It's unfortunately a common problem for this type of game from the same era. The puzzle solutions are obnoxiously obtuse. What I mean is that they aren't cleverly designed, don't follow any kind of consistent logic, and basically demand the use of a walkthrough, which is something I try to avoid when possible. Here's an example of Harvester doing a puzzle solution right. At one point you have to get inside of this bolted room. What awaits us inside, well, you'll just have to wait. But it's not immediately obvious how to progress. If you examine the jail bars on the window outside the room, you see that they're fastened using Phillips head screws. Bingo! You need a Phillips head screwdriver to get in. The solution is visually telegraphed with the jail bars as well as further hinted upon examination. There'd be no reason to give the player this much detail unless it were relevant. Now, here's an example of a bad puzzle design in Harvester. If you enter the room, an alarm goes off and you get a game over. You have to disable the alarm system in the house. In order to do this, you have to use a dolly to move a china cabinet, revealing the alarm system and deactivate it. There's not a single hint that this is the case, unless I'm missing it and it's so obscure you have to comb every corner of Harvest to find it. Here's a simple improvement. If I examine the china cabinet, have the text read something like, "There are indents on the carpet from the weight of the cabinet, as though it's been moved recently."
Why does it feel like it's... Oh, there we go. That's probably better to read. For some reason, it wasn't playing it at, you know, proper 720.
Or have a cable
1080.
running from the locked room to the alarm system.
I was wondering
behind the
why it was
cabinet.
really weird to,
Anything.
hard to read.
There's so many times in Harvester where I was reduced to looking up a walkthrough expecting to say, oh, of course, it was so obvious. But instead I usually thought, yeah, that's fucking insane. You'd need a lot of time on your hands in 1996 to figure this out. The problem is compounded by the graphics, which often get in the way of my understanding the scene. Harvester may look unique, but these low-resolution renders really obscure critical items that are already pretty tough to find. Nothing breaks up the flow of a game like combing through the entire scene with your cursor, hoping you didn't miss something that you'll need later. Like, take a look at this busy scene, one of the first in the game. Guess what needs to be interacted with here? This thing over here. It's a cupboard. When I figured this out in the beginning, I knew it was gonna be a rough time. Games like Day of the Tentacle just succeed where Harvester fails. Not just because the puzzles are more fun, logical, and satisfying, but the art style lends a visual clarity to the scenes. It's always obvious when something is worth noting or not. Fortunately, Harvester is a little less cruel about punishing the player if you can't figure something out. I think of a game like Darkseid. Now there's a reference you don't make every day. Oh god, am I gonna have to review that one too? I think I'm gonna have
I think this came out like 2 years before his Darkseid review.
to review that one too. In Darkseid,
Actually,
there's
no,
a
it
time
came
limit,
out
so you
last
just kind of
year.
stumble through the game hoping that you got everything you need, and then...
Oh, actually, hold on. That reminds me. Did I have it set up by chance? I did not. Give me one sec. There we go.
Weep quietly when you reach a critical point without the items you need. In Harvester, there's a bit more lenience. As far as I can tell, time doesn't advance in-game until you've accomplished all major tasks. I'm not sure if there's a way to screw your future self over, but I never encountered one while playing. Speaking of time advancing, it's probably worth mentioning the structure of Harvester's gameplay. There's 7 days until the annual Harvest Blood Drive, which, for increasingly obvious reasons, you probably don't want to be present for. Each day presents new challenges, usually in the form of a lodge initiation. You'll receive some specific tasks and be sent out into the world, not really knowing how to accomplish them. The only way to progress is to visit all of these major locations and talk with the townsfolk, who will provide hints or, at worst, some hilariously entertaining dialogue.
Boys are so dense. What else is there for a wife but cooking and cleaning?
That dialogue is far and away the star of Harvester. The people of this town are demented. They're cartoon caricatures of Americana culture, wrapped in depraved fantasies of violence and other things. The characters and their dialogue make this game, and are often rewards in themselves. To say something is wrong with Harvest is the understatement of the century. This place is the love child of Twin Peaks and American Psycho. Twin Peaks because Harvest is a town straight out of a fever dream. Characters embody these outlandish traits we can't even even trust Mom to just be a normal mom. American Psycho because Steve is a square peg in a round hole. He's alone in this world, and being surrounded by uncertainty drives him to justify gruesome, violent actions. Both Steve and Patrick Bateman are the prototypical Sigma males, murdering any women who get in the way of their crypto gains. Gotta stay on that grind set. I have to say, it's a blast going from area to area each in-game day, hearing the townspeople comment on the events caused by Steve the day before. There's even a few areas that don't have any relevance to the main story. You can just go hang out and talk to the people there. The legless military veteran is my favorite. He's on the lookout for communists and has no time for Steve's nonsense.
There's a lot of art going on over there. I want to make sure they haven't turned into commie bastards. You got that?
Despite obviously suffering from psychological...
So, fun thing about the actors in this game. There is another channel, I forget, he's going to mention them at the end. There is another channel that is basically entirely devoted to looking into various things about Harvester. And basically every single actor in this game, with the exception of a few, had zero clue what they were actually filming. Because someone went up to them and found them and it's like, oh hey, you were in this PC game Harvester. And they had zero clue what they were talking about. Because they were just brought in to do the sprites essentially, and were not given any context. Because all the voice acting was done by someone else.
Problems, he's been placed in charge of Harvest's nuclear missile supply. There's a single red button used to launch them that he keeps underneath his torso for his safekeeping.
I keep it on my person all the time.
I'm sure everything will be fine. This game was ahead of its time in some ways, such as humor and subject matter. Something like this would have probably made a big splash if it came out 10 years later, but it's a product of its time, which means a rippin' MIDI soundtrack. Initially, it's pleasant and bright, but underneath that summertime 1950s cheer, the music is undergirded by an unsettling insincerity. Makes you think that everyone is watching Steve. As we get deeper and deeper into the world of Harvest, there are some very moody and atmospheric tracks, really selling the feelings of hopelessness. As Steve, you feel trapped in Harvest. You get the sense that even if you were to hop into Mr. Johnson's mint-condition Tucker and drive away as fast as you can, there's no leaving here. And then there's the theme of the lodge. It sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, this one I don't quite fully get. I can kind of get what they're going for, and I'm totally not pausing this to kind of break it up so that the content ID doesn't work.
Now, I don't know if it's a compatibility issue with modern hardware, but during conversations, the audio levels will often become messed up and the music will constantly start and stop.
Like when it's there, but if it wasn't, we'd hear about it soon enough, I'll bet.
You're saying that's all there is to marriage? Cooking and cleaning?
Well, you'll
Cooking more?
to replace the ones I throw out.
Why?
Well, I have to. No one's going to pay to eat steak.
My guess is there was a limited number of channels that audio could play through, and dialogue messes with that, but maybe somebody a little more familiar with hardware could weigh in here. Could just be bad programming, but they had 2 years for crying out loud. There's something interesting to note about Harvester, a feature you probably wouldn't expect in this type of game. You can kill anyone. Now, you'll probably get arrested and executed, but the option is there. There are a handful of people you can get away with just murdering if the game has successfully desensitized you to the point of desiring such an outcome.
I love this walk
In order to
animation.
kill somebody, you have to best them in combat. Yeah, that's right, Harvester has combat, and it is more offensive than anything in this game's script. Offensively shitty, that is, barely functional. The game ends with a long, unavoidable stretch of insufferably bad combat that'll have you googling the invincibility code faster than Steve's premature ejaculation record. That's like 7 seconds. Now, with the broad strokes taken care of, let's talk about Harvester in a bit more detail. The game opens up with a cutscene that kinda looks like one of those bowling alley animations animations that play when you get a strike. Steve wakes up shirtless. Yeah, he's shirtless in the game a lot for some reason, even though his body looks like a boiled ham. He puts on his iconic flannel shirt and it's off to the races. In Steve's room, we're introduced to the basic gameplay. Move your cursor around, click on things to examine them or interact with them. I love these old school 3D renders where there's enough detail to look really impressive for the time, but not enough to properly sell the illusion of photorealism. It leads to this feeling of discomfort and hyperreality that adds to the jarring atmosphere of Harvest. Heading outside, Steve meets his brother Hank and has a conversation with him about color TV.
That's a weird looking television.
Which wouldn't be my priority after waking up with amnesia, but Steve always was a kidder. Hank is addicted to TV, and in particular a gruesomely violent show called Range Riders Cowboy Roundup, where the supposed hero of the show just kills Native Americans. That's literally it. I guess it's a good time to mention here, there's some subject matter that's pretty offensive by 1996 standards, and doubly so by modern sensibilities. The reason for these portrayals isn't just to offend or shock, although it could certainly do both of those things, but as an exaggerated portrayal of American stereotypes. By showing gratuitous depictions of violence and, well, we'll get to the fireman. The game is lampooning what it sees as American hypocrisies, maybe aspects of history that some people would rather sweep under the rug. Whether you think these portrayals are necessary or if they succeed is a matter of opinion. I only mention it because I think context is important when it comes to things like this. Anyway, before meeting Steve's mom, I saved my game and mother of God, what a save screen. We talked to Steve.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about doing stuff ironically, is that pose law exists and that it is incredibly easy to do that kind of thing really shittily.
Mom, the archetypal 50s housewife. She's even looking at the camera and smiling. It reminds me of the Truman Show.
It's a chef's pal. It's a dicer, grater, peeler all in one. Never needs sharpening, dishwasher safe.
Wow. That's amazing!
There's actually a lot of similarities between that movie and Harvester, which I'll mention later. What you need to know for now is that Steve is getting married to Stephanie, and nobody believes him about his amnesia. Also, Mom is making cookies for the bake sale on Friday. Today is Monday. I guess when your baby is pre-rendered, there isn't much to do. The bake sale is to create a funeral fund so that when homeless people wander into Harvest and die, they can afford to give them a burial. Because the volume of dead homeless people in this town of 17 buildings is so high, they'd just be piling up in the streets otherwise. Going outside, we meet Jimmy James, the paperboy.
Hey Steve, I'm Jimmy James. Remember me?
When I say paperboy, you're probably thinking of a boy who delivers the paper, but that's not right. He's outside your door each morning, waiting for you to give him a newspaper.
How'd you expect a working Joe to make an honest living? You don't put the paper out, I'm out of a job.
All I can say is don't fuck with the paperboy.
God, I love that sprite so much.
You're given a bit of free reign to explore the town at this point. As mentioned, you don't have to worry about time advancing until your objectives are completed, so it's almost kind of relaxing to just walk around town meeting new people. We head over to meet Steve's fiance, Stephanie, and her family. Her dad is really interested in Steve's family business, the butcher shop. He really wants meat.
And your father will give me all the meat I want.
His wife is, yeah, that's just Steve's mom with a wig on. I don't know if Steve has tinnitus or something, but it sounds like the tide is rising over the top of this house.
There's nothing bizarre about baking cookies.
Steve goes up to meet Stephanie, not before taking her tampons and watching her put clothes on through a hole in the wall, in case there was any confusion about who the hero is. And it seems Stephanie is amnesiac too.
Who are you? What are you doing in my room?
What were you thinking? Attacking someone like that, with so many witnesses around.
With her grounded until the wedding, Steve is on his own to figure out who they are and why they're here, and he figures that joining the lodge is the best way. The goal on day one is to grab an application for the lodge and fill it out. The only problem is that the post office, in charge of the applications, is all out, and they won't get more for months. There is one copy, but the postmaster has no intention of giving it up, unless we can help him out. He's suspected of burning down the town newspaper building. If Steve can get into the evidence room and grab the gas can from the scene of the crime, the postmaster will hook us up with an application. Sounds like something an innocent man would request. There are various puzzles to solve around town at this point, and these early ones actually aren't too bad. So you need to break into the evidence room of the sheriff's office, but the deputy is in the way. Talking to him reveals that he's a pervert.
I wish I had some of them girly pictures, but Mrs. Loomis won't let me keep them in the house.
So you can head home, find a quarter in Steve's room, and use it to buy a dirty magazine.
A girly magazine?
Why, Steve, I'm surprised at you.
The deputy takes it and goes to the jail to inspect it more closely, at which point you can get into the evidence room. Makes sense, pretty solid, but these puzzles are the exception rather than the rule in Harvester. So we swap the gas can for the application, fill it out, and bring it to the sergeant-at-arms of the lodge.
I see you've managed to acquire an application.
He's my favorite character, and not just because he talks like Dr. Claw.
If you don't join us, we will terminate your life support, and you will be dead within minutes.
I'm assuming they either lost footage or didn't have the space to include videos of him talking, because there's this one 10-second clip of him just standing there they use when he's speaking. They say he talks using telepathy, which is just so stupid, but it's all part of the schlocky charm of Harvester. This 2D plane of him standing here with a 3D background looks like the Nutshack intro. It's the Nutshack. It's the Nutshack. Each day in Harvester ends with this nightmarish sequence. The visual imagery here is disgusting and bizarre. It amplifies the feeling of terror in a way that nothing else in this game does. After playing the game, I'm left with images of this part burned into my— oh, hold on. I'm a bit too far into the clip. Oh, here we go. Oh god, I knew that Harvester was a surreal Lynchian fever.
So this is Magellar's overview of the game Harvester, a game that I have specifically said that I will never actually play.
Dream, but I had no idea they'd go for full-on Cronenberg body horror. This is almost
it's
too
just
much for me.
Magellar's,
Day 2 has us perform our first lodge initiation task. There's a man in town named Mr. Johnson, and he has a car called the Tucker that he's in love with.
It's
Our
just
job
an
is to
overview.
find a way to scratch
It's just an overview.
the car and get away with it. Next time you see a scratch on your car, consider that your local Bilderberg chapter had something to do with it. So if you just straight up walk over to Mr. Johnson's house and scratch the car, you're forcibly introduced to the game's combat. This is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Even if you kill him and scratch the car, you're caught by the sheriff in a very entertaining cutscene. I don't know, kind of feels like justice was served if you ask me. The correct way to handle this is to go through the sewers, and the first example of a really reaching puzzle. Once again, without any hints, you're to deduce that this manhole will lead to Mr. Johnson's garage at nighttime. You have to go through Stephanie's cupboard, find a bottle of lube, go across town to another manhole with a giant rod in it, lube up the rod, grow up, and take it back to Mr. Johnson's. It's not overly obtuse, but it's quite a stretch of the imagination. It's likely you'll end up figuring it out simply by exhausting every single solution before finally tripping over the answer by accident. So you scratch up the car while this amazing cat burglar music plays. Before turning in for the night, you can actually stumble across Mr. Potsdam, Stephanie's dad, doing something in the cemetery.
I'm burying our cat. She passed away and I'm burying her. Go away and mind your own business.
Then, where's the cat?
I left her at home. Now leave me alone!
Seems like a straight shooter. Coming back to the cemetery the next day, you find that Mr. Potsdam buried Karen, daughter of Edna, owner of the diner, alive. Boy, that's a lot of commas. Edna's great.
Yeah, also, thankfully, Magellar is kind enough to neglect a certain other plot point, which you kind of saw in text a little bit earlier. That's not all that he does, and I'm not going to specifically say what it is. But yeah, it is about as bad as you can expect, the fact that I'm not saying what it is.
Grateful for Karen's safety and gives Steve some reward money. And at this point, most people around town just deny that a lovely man like Mr. Potsdam would ever do such a thing. Mom sounds downright disappointed in Steve.
Also, I will point out that thankfully, Magellar decided to not put in one of the scenes that particularly did not that particularly did not make me want to play this game, which is involves your baby sister. It may be her eyes coming out at some point.
I warned you not to waste time looking for her.
Am I running out of time?
The blood drive is coming soon.
Our second lodge initiation task has us stealing a bolt of fabric from the firemen. Oh boy, I guess it's time to talk about the firemen.
I'm going to make new drapes for the firehouse, and if I have any left, cross your fingers, I'm going to make everyone matching mauve pillow cozies.
Okay, so there's a fire station full of flamboyantly gay firemen who spend every waking moment painting a nude man, who actually sits under this tarp overnight.
Jeez,
What are you doing here?
Just standing here, waiting to be drawn.
It's so stupid. It's not even like a good impression of an exaggeratedly gay person.
Don't bother me, I'm sketching. Oh, look what you made me do!
They don't lisp their tongues like Sylvester from Bugs Bunny. Now, the joke here is obviously firemen, flamers, ha ha. If you don't get it, the citizens will make sure you do.
Maybe they should be more concerned with fire and less with flame.
There's a midget at the barber shop who owns an aluminum siding business who laments that once the firemen came to harvest, everybody got so caught up in color coordination that they stopped buying aluminum siding.
Started when those firemen came to harvest.
Yeah, it's this part of the game that really, I feel like the satire part of this kind of runs into some problems with just the time that this game was made in, because some parts of it just seems like, yeah, it's actually something that's funny because it reminds me of when me and a bunch of other people were watching a bunch of Mel Brooks movies, and it is the kind of thing that you see, in particular when Mel Brooks always has to do jokes around gay people. Like, the jokes practically are the same from when Blazing Saddles was. There's just a different feeling to them, and it doesn't quite feel right. And that part really does not feel good.
Filling people's heads with newfangled notions like color coordination and interior design.
I can't do this, it's so dumb. The method of stealing fabric is so absurd, I never would have figured it out without a walkthrough. First of all, there's no indication whatsoever that there even is fabric here. The firemen don't tell you anything. There's no visual indication in the area either. Nothing. You go into the station at night, throw some meat to the dog to distract him, use a stepladder to reach the light bulb, turn the light on, and the fabric is inside the light. If you figured this out through logical deduction, well, you're a smarter person than I. The next lodge task has us stealing a barber pole from the barber, Mr. Pastorelli, who doesn't speak English. He's got a gray alien head mounted on his wall, and he just sweeps. Endlessly sweeping, never clean. Ironically, I actually felt closest to Pastorelli for the simple fact that he doesn't have anything unsettling to say. To break into his barber shop, you need to tape up the window and use a fire axe. I honestly had no idea that putting tape on a window to break it was even a thing. Is that common knowledge? Nobody hints at it. Steve isn't exactly subtle, so I didn't know I'd need knowledge of real-life robbery techniques to play this game.
For the record, if you're wondering about that, you tape up the windows when you break it so that the glass doesn't go everywhere. It's about cleaning it. It's not necessarily about breaking it.
At any rate, we steal...
At least as far as I know.
The pole, which leaves some live wires hanging in a pool of water, and Pastorelli is electrocuted.
Pastorelli was electrocuted because you left live wires in a puddle on the floor. But as those with affectations of worldliness say, c'est la vie.
So, there you go, the first death inadvertently caused by Steve. What a kidder. What's interesting is that you can walk around town talking to all of the characters and hearing what they think about Steve's antics, without knowing that Steve caused them, of course.
I feel terrible about what happened at the fire station.
Stephanie maintains a more rational outlook than Steve at this point, who's gradually slipping into an ends justify the means mindset, ironically becoming more and more like an honorary citizen of Harvest with his disregard for human life. I guess Steve's increasingly bad boy image makes her horny as all get out, because after killing the barber, she demands that Steve make love to her in one of the most awkward and uncomfortable sex scenes of all time.
There's no chance we can ever be together?
Only if you could promise me you'll never die.
You know I can't promise that.
If you did that, I would make love to you right now.
I promise. I will never die.
Directed by BioWare. How would you even have a sex drive in a situation like this? Oh no, we're trapped in an evil town full of people who want to kill us. Touch my dick? Wait, this is a peephole in the next room. Oh, gross. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention that Steve's dad has been locked in the master bedroom since the game started, supposedly sick with the... Oh my. Well, you're a day late and $1 short as far as the birds and the bees are concerned, Mr. Mason. Although by the sounds of it, Steve has been doing it wrong.
When a man and a woman love each other very much, they go into
See, I can break in the Twitch content rules perfectly.
And then the man climbs on the woman, and then they... with the barbed wire,
There's actually a lot of characters and locations I haven't mentioned just because they haven't been pertinent, but it's worth going through Harvester and seeing everything the town has to offer. First of all, there's the Wasp Woman. They call her the Wasp Woman because, well... yeah. Then there's the funeral home. There's something about this render. I have recently learned about something called liminal space, which is referred to on the Aesthetics Wiki, which is a thing, as a location which is a transition between two other locations. Typically, these are abandoned or sometimes empty. This makes it feel frozen in time and slightly unsettling, but also familiar to our minds. This is it, the sensation I've been trying to describe. In some of my videos, I refer to this weird feeling I get playing games from the 90s sometimes, especially with these pre-rendered backgrounds. This screen right here, I feel like I've been here or seen this before. Not really pertinent to the review, just thought it was kinda cool. I'm sure some fans of games like this can relate to the feeling. It's part of what creates a dreamlike atmosphere. Anyway, the funeral home is run by a Mr. Moynihan, who also owns the hotel next door. Killing is his business, and business is good. The actor who plays him is actually Gilbert Austin, lead developer on Harvester. You can kill him with no repercussions if you want. He doesn't actually have anything to do with the story. Then you've got Range Rider and Lance McKnight over at the TV station. Some of the dialogue with Range Rider is a bit on the nose as far as social commentary goes, but entertaining nonetheless.
Check my rating, son. Violence is entertainment. I just put it on the air. If some kid watches, that says something about the kid, not me.
So, I believe that this is actually the actor, this person right here. I forgot what his name is. But it's really funny. If you go look up the actor who plays him, someone went and found him, and he's like, yeah, this, I don't remember doing it. I just remember kind of showing up for set and just doing some weird skits, and it was just a day at work for me. Like, I didn't get anything, like, any sort of thing. But then eventually he left acting and went, I believe, onto salesman. Like, he was a salesman stuff. You could actually find this guy's LinkedIn, and you can tell immediately that it's this guy, because he's making pretty much this exact smile. I'll see if I can find it.
Me.
Lance is a douchey TV executive.
Hey now, sport, that's an irresponsible allegation. I had nothing to do with that fire. Just because WHAR may have benefited from it, and I danced on the ashes a little.
He solely exists to be decapitated by Steve. Then there's Colonel Buster Monroe.
So you're the amnesiac, huh? Just another draft-dodging ploy the way I see it.
I remember watching clips from Harvester years back.
Yeah, like, a lot of the people who did this are pretty much chill dudes, with one major exception, but we'll get to that later on.
And when I saw this guy speaking, I was completely sold on this game. His voice and facial work are some of the best in the game. This is the performance of a lifetime.
Those pennywaists in Washington wanted to stick me behind a desk. To hell with that. They owed me. I left my legs in Dusseldorf. They owed me.
If he's suspicious that Steve is a pinko bastard, he just pulls out an assault rifle and kills him, before accidentally falling on his nuclear button and effectively beginning Armageddon. This character just embodies the spirit of Harvester. It's like legitimate terror mixed with absurdist humor, cranked up to 11. Mr. Austin, you've got quite the imagination. I don't think anybody can argue otherwise. So there's a sampling of the game's minor characters. None of the people I mentioned ever need to be interacted with, they just kinda hang around town to give things some flavor. It's a good thing too, because Harvester is a short game. Anything that pads the game's length and makes you want to spend more time in Harvest is a bonus. Our final task for the Lodge requires us to burn down Edna's Diner, or DNA's Diner as the townsfolk call it, seeing as the E is burned out. Now, to be fair, we did just save her daughter's life, so burning down her livelihood as a single mother kinda evens things out. Even Steven, they call him. Before doing anything, we gotta stop by the Harvest Bake Sale.
Why do so many derelicts and bums die in Harvest?
Don't be such a wise apple, Steve.
Well, good to see you, ladies. Edna's Diner is our next stop, which we promptly burn to the ground. The way it freezes on Steve's casual saunter is super funny. I don't know why. Steve is the kind of guy who burns his fingers and yells, "Ow!" while lighting a match. The idea of him having a female love interest or walking away from a burning building is the type of thing that could only happen in his wildest dreams. Today's the final day before the blood drive, so it's now or never. Somebody burned the TV station down last night while we torched Edna's, so Hank is staring at.
Okay, so I found the picture. The guy who plays Range Rider is Charlie Latch. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. Yeah, that's him. That's his LinkedIn profile picture. I think he worked at Nissan. You can definitely tell that's just the guy.
At a blank screen like he's going through withdrawal.
Someone burnt down the TV channel. There's nothing on. Nothing on.
I actually prompted him with a conversation from a previous day, so it played a pre-recorded cutscene like the TV was still on. I always enjoy outsmarting a game like that. Say, with the TV station burned down, I wonder what Range Rider's up to. I hope he's taking everything in Oh.
Can you spare a dime for a buckaroo who's down on his luck?
Heading to the diner to admire his handiwork, Steve finds a note from Edna. With no way to support themselves, Edna killed Karen and then herself.
I'm sure you won't be able to understand the depth of despair that would enable a mother to put a rope around her baby's neck and push her into the air and jump after her.
Okay, up till this point, the violence and R-rated content has been so silly and over the top that it hasn't affected me, but this is actually pretty dark. Except for the sheriff crying while eating pie. That's kind of funny. So the sergeant tells Steve to wait for his invitation. He can wander around town before ending up back at Stephanie's house. Looks like she's been killed and there's only a spinal cord and skull left behind. Thankfully, the sheriff shows up and...
More pie, Sheriff?
Don't mind if I do.
Hey, man's gotta eat. All of these scenes of gruesome violence are undercut with comedy to soften things up a bit.
All in all, I'd say this was death by natural causes.
Natural causes?
You can't live without a spinal cord, son. Nothing unnatural about that.
God, I love that line so much.
I think horror and comedy go very well together. Some people find the jokes in movies like Evil Dead to juxtapose the spooky atmosphere too harshly, but I disagree. It's a constant roller coaster of tension and release, and Harvester does a pretty good job of making you laugh while grossing or creeping you out. But if you're easily affected by this kind of thing, you might not get much out of it. Before entering the lodge, we're told to bring Stephanie's remains to the sergeant. Unfortunately, they've been moved from her bedroom to the family crypt. I find this crypt hilarious. The Potsdams have been established as a lower class family unable to enter the lodge. But this isn't a crypt, it's a damn mausoleum. The biggest and most elaborate structure in the cemetery by far. The game isn't even trying to keep things realistic at this point. It's just as stupidly bombastic as possible. Giant ornate skull.
Also, what is it with these adventure games and having families of massive mausoleums? Because Darkseid has the exact same thing.
Demon dog guarding the tomb. It's quite something. At long last, we are given entry to the lodge, but this is where the test truly begins. Not just a test to see if Steve is worthy, but a test of the player's patience. The lodge is insufferable, an uneven mess of interesting ideas with god-awful pacing and forced combat. So before anything else, Steve drops down into this fleshy hallway where we have to kill giant bugs. Actually, you know what this section reminds me of? System Shock 2. In both games, you have to go through an annoying flesh maze that contains none of the game's good qualities. Steve ends up covered in acid, so you have just a couple minutes to wander around this area finding tiny items that barely register as interactable in order to find some money to pay for a dry cleaning. Wait, the acid was just on his clothes? Steve could have just taken his shirt off. God knows he's not shy about doing that. This would have been the one time, Steve. The one time you could have justified it. Now, the lodge is an interesting area. There are a lot of themed challenge areas where you either have to solve a puzzle or beat somebody in combat. There are unsettling vibes here. Each proceeding room is a total non sequitur from the previous. The coat room leads to a spooky sewer, the sewer door leads to a truck stop bathroom, so on and so forth. I like the anticipation, never knowing what's waiting for you on the other side of the door. As for the combat, Let me try to explain it. For the most part, you can only walk side to side, not towards or away from the camera, which is a blessing here, trust me. In the few cases where you can walk on a Z-axis, it messes with your depth perception to the point where you have no idea whether your hits will connect or not. Swinging a melee weapon or shooting is done with the right mouse button. Doing so will initiate an animation that causes Steve to swing around like an idiot. At this point, the weapon or fist becomes a hitbox that will cause damage to an enemy sprite if they enter its damage zone. Unfortunately, there is no animation blending whatsoever, so enemies will often interrupt their stun animations to hit you when they really shouldn't. You can aim up or down and sort of time your hits, but for the most part, there's absolutely no strategy involved. Just click the shit out of that right mouse button and hope they die before you do. The problem is that there are long, unbroken stretches of combat where you have no way to heal yourself, so even if you win a fight, if you take too much damage, you're better off just reloading an earlier save and trying again. It sort of seems like a prototype for a more sophisticated beat-em-up system, but they either ran out of time or resources because this is an absolute mess. The most shocking part is that the game went 2 years over its release schedule because the programming wasn't finished. What were they doing in that time frame? Learning to program? As you progress through the lodge, you'll encounter different mysteries, which are meant to represent moral questions or hypocrisies. Get the old noggin joggin'.
The mystery is thus. The simple manipulation of nerves may break one man, and yet leave another unmoved.
Let's say hypothetically, I was enjoying the spanking you were giving me. Would it be reasonable to assume that further spankings would be in order?
Except they don't work that well, really. It's kind of a scatterbrained approach to social commentary. I don't really know what the writer is trying to say. Here's a small collection of notes I took while playing, things I think the game was trying to say but never really followed up on. Fictional violence desensitizes children to real-life violence. There is no link between fictional violence and real-life violence. History is filled with bad things, yet we try to stop our children from hearing about bad things. Stereotypes are silly. Women should not be forced to only cook and clean. Excessively watching TV leads to children becoming addicted to TV. You shouldn't shame prostitutes, they're just filling a gap in the market. You shouldn't touch prostitutes, they'll give you venereal diseases. People who don't speak English are human beings too. Modern art isn't so bad. People who like modern art are scumbags. Be nice to the janitor. He will put you down if you step on a freshly mopped floor.
You think just because I'm a janitor I got no pride? You asked for it.
Yeah.
Smoking is bad for you. Eating too much meat is bad for you. The Red Scare was silly. Gluttony is wrong. Motherhood isn't all it's cracked up to be. Oh, gross. Religion is dumb. War is bad. America doesn't treat its veterans well. Narcissism is unhealthy. Mercy doesn't jive with survival of the fittest. That's just some of it. I think Harvester's writer had a lot of things on his mind and tried to fit in some thoughts wherever possible with the game, but it's all over the place. Before the game has a chance to do anything cerebral with a topic, it's over. The closest Harvester gets to starting a meaningful conversation is on the topic of fictional violence. There's a meta-commentary here that's actually kind of interesting, and it feels like it's striking back against the politically correct movement of the 1990s. It especially makes sense when you consider that Harvester began development not long after Doom, which sparked a national conversation on the link between video games and real-world violence.
Game Night Trap for the first time. It is a sick, disgusting video game in my judgment.
And what I found shocked me. Video games are overwhelmingly violent, sexist, and racist.
Player may then choose a method of murder ranging from ripping a heart out to pulling off the head of the opponent with spinal cord attached.
I'll get back to that after the ending. For now, witness as Mr. Potsdam becomes a powerful adversary, and the school principal sends a laser wizard to stop Steve in his tracks.
Welcome to the inner sanctum, big guy.
In the end, we get our answers from the sergeant, and then some. The town of Harvest is a simulation, a combination of programming and Steve's own subconscious mind. That's why there are glitches, such as both Steve and Stephanie's moms being the same person and dialogue not always making sense.
Is God a jar of strawberry preserves, a size 12 sneaker, a foot-long hoagie, an all-expense-paid trip to Brazil, or a new car?
Steve and Stephanie, who's still alive, are jacked into a virtual reality machine which is pumping this world into their minds. It's not actually the 1950s, but the 1990s, and an experiment is being performed to find out if people can be made into serial killers. The experiment is being performed by an organization called the Harvesters. Their purpose? Just making serial killers. That's it. At this point, you can choose between two different endings. If Steve chooses to kill Stephanie, she'll die in real life, but Steve will be released from the simulation and inducted into the Order of the Harvesters. If he doesn't kill Stephanie, he'll be allowed to stay in the simulation of Harvest, living a full life with Stephanie and dying of old age. Though it'll feel like a lifetime, it's actually an illusion produced by Steve's mind as he dies over the course of seconds in real life. The implications of these choices are pretty heavy, so naturally, I pick both. The Let Stephanie Live ending basically goes as you'd expect it might.
What a waste. This kid could have been something.
I disagree, but the Kill Stephanie ending is a bit more in-depth.
Please help me. Steve, don't do this, please.
To pulling off the head of the opponent with spinal cord attached.
We flash forward to Steve murdering a hitchhiker in real life, and later on his mom comments on how playing Harvester will make him become violent.
Why do you think they started cutting the violence out of those Roadrunner cartoons?
Roadrunner cartoons. Roadrunner cartoons?
So ridiculous. Earlier on, I made a comparison between this game and The Truman Show, which, if you don't want spoiled, maybe skip to the conclusion. I wouldn't worry though. The Truman Show is more about the journey than the destination. Both stories are set in a simulation of 1950s America, where a main character is manipulated for the benefit of people who are aware of some larger machinations that he isn't. In the end, both characters find out that their reality has been constructed for them, and are ultimately forced to choose between living an idyllic life.
Also, do I say, Truman Show? Very good movie.
With the existential awareness that it's not real, or walking away and facing the pain of reality but consciously moving out of ignorance. The difference in Harvester's case is that Steve is still being manipulated by those larger forces even if he does escape.
Yeah.
However, despite that, he's been conditioned to enjoy the task of killing, so that actually doesn't matter to him. So what's the moral of the story here? I can't say for sure. Getting back to my earlier point, I wager that Harvester is a parody of the cultural zeitgeist of the early
I remember
90s.
watching that movie in
Steve is trained
theaters.
to become a reprehensible murderer using a simulation, much like how parents thought games like Doom or Wolfenstein would turn children into killers back then too. People who don't face the fact that violence has a part to play in world history are choosing to live in a simulation like Steve. But does that make it the worst option? I don't know. If the alternative is becoming cynical and desensitized, then maybe ignorance really is bliss. This quandary is cranked up a bit in Harvester's case, where the alternative to ignorance is becoming a literal serial killer, but I think the principle holds true. It could be that Harvester is just a video game and I come across like a dope reading into it too much. I mean, that's undoubtedly true. But I do feel like there's something weird and creative at the core of Harvester. It's somehow more than the sum of its parts, despite some joyless gameplay and the story spreading itself a bit too thin in the thematic department. Would I recommend you play it? No, not really. If the strange world of Harvest really appeals to you, I recommend you watch a long play just to hear the dialogue and experience these characters in their unfettered glory. Even with that in mind, Harvester isn't going to be for everyone, and that's an understatement. Despite its heart, the game is schlocky and lowbrow, the video game equivalent of a trauma movie. Some will say it's excessive, brainless, and a bit of an eyesore, which I completely understand. But hey, that's what makes video games and art in general so great. Meaning is in the eye of the beholder, and the legions of Harvester fanatics who have come out of the woodwork over the last few decades, they see qualities in Harvester that are worth a second look. I'm glad I stumbled across this game because I enjoy seeing this medium taken to its creative limits, especially back in the 90s when there wasn't much of an indie scene to speak of, and publishers rarely stepped outside the tried and true standards set by their forebearers. Well, Harvester, like Troma, hawks a big loogie on cultural and business norms. That might be why it failed, but it's also why the game is still worth talking about almost 3 decades later. Also, the actor who played Steve was arrested for possession of child pornography several times, and the flannel shirt he's wearing in the mugshot is basically the same one that Steve wears in Harvester.
Yes, that's the one. That's the exception.
Thanks for watching the video. Covering a horror game is something a little bit different for me, so I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. Maybe leave a comment below sharing your thoughts of the game called Lodge Level 4.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, the Lodge Level... Okay.
Development interests you at all, I'd have to recommend checking out a YouTube channel called...
Yeah, Lodge Level 4. This guy. Yeah, this guy, I've seen some of his videos, and, this guy put in incredible amounts of detail.
Super fan. He's been in contact with the game's developers and actors, and he even has an original copy of the game's script. I watched all 15 episodes of the Harvester show, and there was some really cool info. As always,
yeah, it's over like an hour and a half, like worth of material. It's an interesting watch, because he like gets the actor book, like he goes through all the actors in the game. But before I go with this, let me see if I can find that ad. I think it's right here. Yeah, here we go. Oh, hold on.
Ask anyone in Harvest, and they'll tell you it's a nice little town. Children play on quiet neighborhood streets by day, and watch cowboys kill Indians at night. It is a time of innocence and of awakening.
I'm telling you, as weird as it sounds, I don't know you. Any of you. I don't know where I am, or even who I am. Somebody tell me who I am!
Stop it, you're being silly. Honestly, all this fuss, you're giving your brother the heebie-jeebies. You're my son. You've lived in Harvest all your life, and in 2 weeks, you're getting married.
Something really weird is going on here. You've lost your memory? And I can't remember anything. Anything. Except you.
In Harvest, things are not always what they seem. Secrets are kept behind closed doors. And if you're smart, you leave them there.
I feel like something is bearing down on me. Something terrible.
I know what you mean. I can't remember anything. But I know in my heart that the woman downstairs is not my mother. I'm scared.
Harvest is a quiet little town, and the people there want to keep it that way. People who break the silence there are broken.
Oh my God. Is that what I think it is?
Yep. It's a spinal cord, all right.
Is it Stephanie?
I don't know. The only clue we got is that card propped up on a pillow. Take a look at it. I don't see any need to investigate. Whoever this is dead from natural causes.
Natural causes?
You can't live without a spinal cord, son. Nothing unnatural about that.
More pie, Sheriff?
Oh, I don't mind if I do.
You don't know if Stephanie is alive or dead, but you do know 2 things. You've been invited to join the ranks of a secret order, and the answer to your questions can only be found in the Lodge. Come in. Harvester. coming this summer to a store near you.
Yeah, so that is a trailer that was from 1994. You could definitely tell. God, part of the like CG in that game just reminds me if you've ever seen the game King of Chicago, where it's this really unsettling like faces in that. But yeah, that's Harvester. So yeah, that was Matchler's view of Harvester. It's a game that I find utterly fascinating, but I will never play it. And that right there is the amount of footage that I'd do of that game. So yeah. I know this is probably, I mean, usually these Thursday ones are a little bit, or like 2 hours. I'm going to go ahead and say that that's probably going to be it for tonight. No, this is definitely not my kind of thing. But I do want to show it off because I think that is an interesting kind of thing. But yeah, that is going to do it for tonight because I'm also starting to get a little hot. So I am going to not get unhot. But anyway, yeah, that's going to do it tomorrow. I do actually have something planned that I'm going to start tomorrow's stream with, but I will announce that tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to do that, and then that is going to be, tomorrow's going to be the last stream of the weekend, because I am skipping Sunday, as a reminder, because I am building a PC. So anyway, that's going to do it for that. Thank you all for watching. Personal Twitter /co/Blue Skies at Lolo De Puzlo. We got a Discord, you can chat with the community, take part in polls, do the fun stuff. Got a coffee page, you can help with hosting costs and various other things. I got my schedule on there, and I got a bunch of links in the video description and in chat. If you want to go check things out. As I said, tomorrow we are actually I'll do this, go ahead and say it here. Tomorrow we are going to watch a movie that was developed entirely on the MSX. So that's your little hint for, or your little preview of what to do tomorrow, and I hope to see you again in the future. I'm just going to send you all, I don't even know who was on, but I'm just going to send you all to enjoy yourself. Have a good night. Bye-bye.